Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being on time and for joining us for our first Mentorship Monday. Today, we have Alan in the room, and Alan has been contributing and supporting entrepreneurs within the entrepreneurship ecosystem for well over a decade. And he helps entrepreneurs with their entrepreneurial mindset, and he's contracting to several accelerators and incubators. My name is Jayshree Naidu. I'm the CEO of YIEDI, the Youth Innovation Entrepreneurship Design Institute. It's so wonderful seeing so many of our alumni on the line with us today, as well as entrepreneurs on our existing programs. And today we're going to be hearing from Alan as part of a series of Mentorship Mondays, and I'll be introducing our next speaker a little later on. But for now, Alan's going to be taking us through vision, mission, and alignment. Alan's going to be presenting for the first 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're going to have an opportunity to ask questions. So please do use the chat to give us any of your comments, as well as any questions that you may have that we may not be able to get to. We will be using the hands up function a bit later on. So please do keep your microphones on mute for the duration of the session until we get to the Q&A session. I'm going to now hand over to Alan. Alan, thank you so much for being here today and for being so generous with your time. I mean, we recently had a strategy session with entrepreneurs on one of our programs, and I know firsthand how important it is to have a working and understandable vision, mission, and let's see how we align that as well to our thinking. So over to you, Alan, and we look forward to an amazing afternoon of learning and sharing.
Hi, Jayshree, and hello to everybody that's joined us this afternoon. Yeah, I think I'm going to kick off, and I'll do a presentation of about 20 to 30 minutes. I'd like this to be as interactive as possible, so please do feel free to pop questions in the chat and ask questions. The session today is about vision, mission, and more importantly, I'm going to draw it back to alignment. So I think a lot of people speak about it, but there's no connection back to the business. There's no connection back to what is needed. So let me just get my session started there. Okay. Okay. So vision, mission, alignment, a little bit about me. So I am Alan Fok. I have been working with entrepreneurs for the last 13 years now, full-time, supporting them in various stages. I work mainly with building strategies with founders to grow their ventures. So from inception to their growth stages, and just helping them align and get going. So what is a vision and mission statement? It's basically the headline of your business. It's needs to be catchy. It needs to be something that somebody can pick up very quickly, straight away, and know and be excited about your business. It needs to be compelling. It needs to be something that is able to, right from the get-go, pull on the heartstrings of your customers, your team, yourself, your investors, something that they can actually hook into and want to come along with this journey with you. Okay. So it really, you've got a very short time to get them, but you need to hook them straight away in the beginning. Okay. This is the one slide I am going to, this slide and the next slide is quite messy. It deliberately is quite messy, but I'm going to keep it, and I'm literally just going to read through this, okay? It's the messiness of this, or the complexity of it, is important. You do need to know what a vision statement is. You do need to know what a mission statement is. and next, what a strategy is. And like I said, I'm going to read this straight out. The vision statement is an inspirational long-term aspiration of what the organization wants to achieve. It is ambitious and challenging, providing a clear and concise picture of the desired future. What impact does it create? It shapes the organizational culture and influences decision-making, motivating employees, and aligning them toward a common future. Okay, mission statement defines the organization's core purpose, including who it serves, how it serves them, and its core values. There's a clear statement of intent that gives direction to employees and customers about the work the organization does. What's the relation to the vision? The mission translates the vision into practical terms, explaining the why the organization exists and how it aims to realize its vision. Strategy piece there outlines how the organization will achieve its mission and vision, includes the products or services the organization plans to offer, the markets and customers it wants to serve, and the resources and financing required to meet its goals. How do you connect all of that to the mission and vision? Strategy serves as the bridge between the vision and mission, translating organization's purpose into actionable plans designed to achieve the desired future state. Saying that, a lot of that is in a mouthful. You've probably heard that quite a few times. You've probably seen that quite a few times, but it really, what I really want to do, if you look at it in a very different way, simplistically, this is how I see it. A story, your vision is literally just your story. It's got an outcome, it's got a journey on it, but simply it's a story. Your mission is the intentional parts that you'll actually bring together to make your story happen. And your strategy is the game plan of how you're going to deploy those intentional parts into making that story happen. So this is the way I'd like to see it. This is the easier way I like to understand vision, mission, and strategy. But your vision, mission, and strategy actually is a promise. It's a promise, firstly, to yourself, to your team, to your customers, and to your investors. And a lot of that time, that promise is taken, I've seen with a lot of founders I've worked with, sometimes it's taken very lightly, where you create a vision, mission, and statement that is very inspirational, but is it really achievable and is it real? Okay. That promise, like I said, needs to align to the founder. I call it a founder fit. Do you know what you're actually creating there? What are you, what founder journey are you going to be going down the line when you're making that promise? What sacrifices are you making? What resources are you bringing together? What commitments are you making? On the team side, does your team actually know what you are looking to build? And you want those people, you don't want them to be expecting to be doing one thing and then your vision and mission is looking at a totally different thing. Okay. Your investors as well, you're making a promise to them to say, this is what we're going to achieve. And investors want to know that is achievable. Okay. On a personal side, I like to use this picture of what I'm going to take you through now. It's really about, are you doing what you're doing today to create your tomorrow? Is it in alignment with your legacy? So the actions that you're doing today, your current impact, are you aware of what context that fits into? Are you aware of what, if you know what context it fits into, you can deploy a strategy. Now, every strategy should have an exit strategy. And every exit strategy should link to your long-term legacy. That legacy needs to be your life goal, what you want to achieve, your 50-year vision, looking back. Current impact is what you're focusing on. The context is always outside your control. Your strategy, exit strategy, and your legacy, that you have control over, and that's a decision that you can make. Okay, so bringing it back there, your vision, mission, and strategy, is that connected to your legacy. So every one of these lines is the previous slide in totality, but it's you see that in your business, in your life, in the things you do, you're probably going to have anywhere between 10, 20, 50, 100 visions that you create, but you need to make sure that every single one of those meets up to the legacy that you want to create. Okay. If you are creating a venture, what type of venture are you creating? Do you know the difference between, are you creating a necessity business? Are you creating a lifestyle business, a mighty middle, a VC backable? Again, the promise that you're presenting there is going to require different types of resources, different types of time frames, different types of funding. And to give you an example there, lifestyle business is a business that you create that's earning you 5,000 Rand a month, 300,000 Rand a month, but it doesn't have the pressures of having to deliver over a certain time period. Mighty middle, I like to use the example of something like Discam or Nando's. Those businesses have grown big, but they've taken a long time to grow, 20 to 30 years. VC backable, those businesses need to be able to be delivered 10x plus returns, but they need to deliver that within 7 to 10 years. And then a unicorn business is obviously exponential on top of the VC backable. Now, again, when you're creating your vision, mission, you need to make sure that what you are creating in a promise is in alignment with what you want to build, is in alignment with what you want to put in your time, resources, and backing. That your team is aligned with you, that is able to grow with you to the extent you need them to. So again, the promise is important. With your investor, investors want to know that if you're a VC backable business, you are able to achieve the 10x promise or 30x promise that you are saying to them. So you need to make sure you are aligned. Okay. The question you're going to be asking me there is that how are investors, how are customers, how are your team able to test whether you're making this promise or not? This is all done through due diligence. Every business is going to be go through due diligence. If you're making a promise, your funder, investor, is going to go back and look at everything, the promises that you've made. If you are going to be making a 10x return, they're going to be looking at your business and saying, is this business able to achieve a 10x return? If you're speaking about delivering to a certain market, they're going to look at your business model and your structure of your business. Is your team big enough? Do you have enough people? If you're looking at your finances, do you have the finances to accelerate and scale at the speed that you need to be going? Okay. So all of those are going to be looking at, do you have your legal and compliance in place? If you're looking to grow beyond South Africa, is your business structured in a way that is able to go cross-border into the rest of Africa, beyond Africa, globally? So your vision and mission can be big and audacious, but does it match back up to what you're promising? A lot of the time I get asked, can the vision change? My answer to you is that it can change, but well, the only time it should change is if you are starting another line. But if you are on the same line, your vision should not change. What you need to do is, as you get more clarity, it can evolve. Okay. So back to a summary of what I spoke about today. Your vision mission needs to be a headline. It needs to be catchy. It needs to be something understood straight away. It needs to be compelling. It needs to speak to the heartstrings of your customers, your team, your investors, to all those parties. And it should align. It should align to you as a founder. You need to know that if this is what you're committing to, are you aware? Are you well resourced? Are you willing to give up the sacrifices to gain the benefits that you're promising? It needs to align to your team. Does your team understand what you're trying to build? Are you trying to build a lifestyle business, or are you trying to build a VC backable business? Do they know what the commitment is that they're going to be putting in? Do they know what they are in for? And it also needs to be in coherence with your investors. You need to make sure that you're in alignment with them, you're in alignment with your investors. The promise is there. Okay, whatever you're making your promise, you need to be able to deliver on. So also the last piece there, visions can evolve as long as they're informed by clarity. So that's vision, mission, and alignment. So I kept it very short. I'd like to get into the conversation pieces now. Jayshree, can we go to questions and see what people have?
Thank you so much, Alan. Can you tell me, I mean, before we get into the questions, so please do think about your questions for all of those that are on the line with us as we discuss vision, mission, and alignment with Alan. Alan, what have you seen as some of the most challenging pieces when it comes to founders coming up with the right mission and vision? You know, especially you spoke about it has to align with, I think it was, you said heartstrings. So what have you seen to be one of the most challenging pieces when it comes to coming up with the right vision and mission for startups in your experience?
If you put it on the heartstrings, what I like to look at is really about the founders. What the founders usually don't understand is that sometimes the vision is either too small or it's too big for who they are. You really need to have clarity of what you're looking to achieve, who you are. If you are looking to grow a Discam or Nanos and those pieces there, you need to be wanting to put in the hours, you need to be wanting to put in the time, and those pieces there. Pulling on the heartstrings of a founder, there's the positives and the negatives. What I've also seen is that people make too big a promise and then they start sacrificing on the other pieces of their lives. So you don't have the work-life balance, you don't have the family balance, you don't have time for friends, families, your kids, those pieces there. So really on that, the vision needs to align with the founder, most importantly. Tagging on your customers, making on those pieces, I think a lot of people have spoken about those in the past, where it needs to be something that is really important for your customer. Okay, it needs to be meeting a need. It needs to be something they desire, something they want, and so that's your vision and mission side there. Tagging on on investors. I like to, if we get into investment discussions, you'll always hear me talking about dating. Joshua, I'm sure I've said dating to you quite a few times. It's a relationship piece. You bring your business, which needs to be an attractive business. The funder comes in with a want. They've got an investment mandate. They know exactly what they're looking for. They are there for, and your vision mission needs to be big enough for what they are looking for and focused enough for what they're looking for. So if you're speaking more in the specifics, if you need to be in the right industry that they're looking for, you need to have the right team of people that they're looking for to do the back behind your business to grow this. So whatever you put forward as your vision or mission, it really needs to be deliverable. That is, it's when people, most of the time I've seen founders haphazardly putting a vision and mission statement together because they know they need to have one or they've been asked for one, but they don't do it with thought behind it. And that catches them up in there because it's going back to, if you're making a promise to somebody and you haven't thought it through, when it comes time to deliver, the worst part is letting down people on your promise. And that's what your vision and mission is. So really stick close to it.
Okay. So, Alan, you've used this analogy, dating, and making sure it's the right fit quite a few times. And I think it's fascinating, when we get to that kind of thinking. So let's see, we have a comment from Brandon here. I found that entrepreneurs sometimes create overly broad mission and vision statements to appeal to everyone. How do you suggest entrepreneurs dilute the focus to create clear vision and mission? And I think, that's so true. We've seen this quite a few times in engaging with businesses. And I think it's a thought process that needs to go in to make sure it's clear. What advice do you give businesses, Alan, in terms of creating clear vision and missions? Where do they start? So what's the questions they should be asking to come up with the right vision and mission?
Coming up with the right vision and mission, again, I'm going to repeat myself there. You need to have clarity of what you want to achieve, what you want to get. The best way I'm going to say it is that most businesses in the early stages are probably 5 or 8 times too broad. So you actually need to focus down that your get more laser focused down to 5 levels down. I'm going to use a dating analogy again and say that the easiest way to attract the partner that you're looking for is to be very precise and tell them what you're looking for. What are the likes you've got? What are your interests that you've got? If you're more clear about that, you're going to attract the right customers, the right investors, those pieces there. If you're not clear about that, you're going to get a mess. So the more focus you can get, the better it's going to be for you. So think about dating, think about what you are putting out there. It's a law of attraction. If you're not clear about what you want to attract, you're going to be attracting the wrong things. So vision and mission, focus it down, be very precise, be very clear about it, but narrow it down. Okay. And don't be scared to narrow it down, because that's the other thing I've seen a lot of founders being very scared that they might miss an opportunity if they narrow down.
Alan, we have another question. It's from Nirasha, who's dialed in all the way from the UK. Hail, Nirasha. Thanks for joining us again. So thank you, Alan. Love the promise concept. Do you feel that new businesses overthink and then procrastinate on coming up with the vision and mission? And what advice can you give us to stay true to ourselves and our services?
Thanks, Narashni, was it? Thanks for the question. To stay true to it, I think I said your vision and mission shouldn't change, but what it should do is it needs to evolve, and it needs to evolve quite rapidly. And when you overthink it, you tend to want to stick to the vision and mission that you've created right in the beginning. As you learn in the early stages, as you learn more about the context or your market or your customers or your idea, your idea is going to evolve. And as that evolves, you should update your vision and mission statement as well, so that it becomes more laser focused. So overthinking, so I'm going to change the words. And if you're ruminating on one version of your vision, then it's not a good thing. But if you consistently thinking and iterating and evolving your vision, then that's not overthinking. It's just a normal way of how you should be progressing your vision.
Thank you so much for that response, Alan. We're going to take some questions from the rest of you. Anyone have any questions for Alan while we have him on the line with us? And we'd love to hear some of your vision and missions as well. So we're going to take a round of questions. Remember, when we have a technical expert in the room, it's your chance to unlock what's sitting in his mind, and you may not be able to get a chance to get that for free in the future. But while we have Alan on the line, we'd love for you to try and unlock some of that thinking as well. So I'm going to take a round of questions. If any of you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. I think, Vanessa, you were typing something and it might have cut off. So do you want to unmute and ask your question rather?
Thank you, Jayashree. Yeah, my question really is related to the exit strategy. You indicated that one should kind of start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
And what advice do you have with that? Because very often as an entrepreneur, all you can see is today and maybe tomorrow.
Okay, thanks, Vanessa, for the question. Your exit strategy needs to be can I ask you a follow-up question on that on that piece?
Sure.
Or what business are you in? Or what business are you building?
So I'm in quite a niche sector of the corrosion industry, which is the rust industry, and we have a little consultancy.
Okay.
So it depends on individual people's expertise as opposed to something you can roll out easily.
Okay. Now, are you looking to, so your group of consultants, your exit strategy, is this a one generational business, or are you looking for it to be a multi-generational business?
I guess we would like it to be multi-generational, but my hair is gray, and it's hard to train. It's hard to train people with passion, if I can put it that way.
So,
or to find people with passion.
Okay, I hear you on that. Working as a consultant as well, I understand what you're saying there. Your exit strategy, you should have two exit strategies. One is your own personal exit strategy. So, Vanessa, your exit strategy from the business, how long do you expect to stay with the business? And what would you like that exit strategy to look like? Then there should be an exit strategy for your business, the consultancy piece, okay? If your timeline is, I'm just saying another 7 years, I'm just making up a number now, and your exit strategy for the consultancy is going to be 100 years, you need to build so your exit strategy needs to be, what do you need to put in place to continue this business into the next 100 years? Do you, if it's reliant on people, then you need to transition that from just being a people business to a product and services business. So maybe it's a framework or something that you guys can offer that can live into longevity into the 100 years. So exit strategy, that's what I mean by the exit strategy there. Your business needs to have an exit strategy, which could mean that that exit strategy could continue for the next 300 years before it exits. But your individual exit strategy, unfortunately, we're not all going to live to to those years. So you need to think, when is it time? When do I say that I've achieved what I need to achieve on the journey with the business, and what I exit on? And so your vision can be big, but so what investors will be looking at is, if you exit, will there be a continuation? And what is that continuation piece? Does it answer, does it give you a bit of what I mean by exit strategy?
It helps me in the concept, and it doesn't fix the reality, but thank you for the guidance, because I think it's a good place to start.
The challenge is that we never think about the exit strategy. So if somebody starts a new job, I'm going to say to them, what's your exit strategy? And it's a bit of a strange question to be asking somebody who's just started a job. Okay. Same with building a business. I always start asking them, what's the exit strategy? In business side, whether you want to IPO a business, or you want to build it as a family business that you can hand over to your kids and that, it's two totally different businesses that you're building. And that is why you need to have an exit strategy up front, because it just explains a lot more things.
Thanks, Alan. That's been helpful. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks so much for that response, Ellen. I think, it wasn't the only question with regards to an exit plan. Alice also asked, please advise on how does one plan for an exit plan for the newly developed businesses? And I'm sure you get this a lot, Ellen, because we also try and change the view of businesses that, they are actually running a business, and they own a business, and their businesses don't own them. And very often entrepreneurs and startups don't realize that they're actually building an asset of value to exit. I mean, the whole point of a startup and being an entrepreneur is building a strategy to exit. But
Yes.
we get very caught up in, the ownership of the business, tying it to who we are. And it's very interesting, you used a lot of these terminologies when you were presenting, especially like, part of your heartstring and who you are. And what we found is, the closer that individuals get to their business in terms of creating this vision and the mission, and even naming their business, the more they become attached to it. And then they don't see it as a separation from themselves, but they see it as an extension of who they are. So it's also tricky, building exit plans for something that you feel you're going to be part of forever, and is going to be part of your legacy forever. So I think there's quite an interesting balancing act that needs to happen as a business owner, and creating that level of separation. And when you start having businesses that are on the line with us, when you start having these very interesting, difficult conversations with yourself in terms of asking yourself about an exit plan. What is this plan for you to ultimately remove yourself from your business? It does not mean you giving up on your business. It means you are treating it as a separate entity from who you are as an individual. So I think that's something that's really important, and it's important to understand the differences between, you owning your business or your business owning you, and really having these strategic conversations, because very few companies and startups that we work with as well see these as strategic tools, and they very, very important strategic conversations. So I've put quite a bit of tools and tips in the chat box as well, for those of you that are struggling to come up with the vision, or struggling to come up with the mission statement. So you can use some of those tools as well. But Alan, I'd love to hear your thoughts on, just what I've said as well.
Thanks, Joshua, on those pieces there. I've moved back to this slide, and again, this is, if you look at the middle block there, it says there to be able to create and build the attractive venture. And with an exit strategy, when we start building the business, it becomes well, a lot of the founders that I work with, it is who they are. What my job working with them is actually to break that attachment and create it as its own entity on its side. Sorry, by itself. The reason it needs to be that is that if you think about an investor doesn't want to invest in a business that requires the founder to be there. They want to be able to buy into a business that they know will continue beyond the founder. Okay, so building exit strategies in that, you need to know that so the venture side, there's two reasons why I would look to separate the founder from the entity. One is that you want to be able to attract investment. The second piece is, if you want to be, what I usually promote is for serial entrepreneurship, not for somebody to build one venture and do that. You can't become a serial entrepreneur if you are too needed in your one business. If you don't build a team around you, you don't build that business to be independent, that is able to survive on its own, it's able to thrive on its own. You as a founder are not able to are able to walk away from it and start doing other things. You're never going to become a serial entrepreneur, or you're not going to be able to so I really try and encourage people not to let go of the strings to your business. Let go of it. Really build a team around you, build that separation, build that the possibility for you to be able to walk away from it. And if it is a business that doesn't need you, it actually becomes easier for you to sell that business on as well. Creating, Joshua, you mentioned about creating a entity that's asset creating or value creating. That business is only of value if it is able to thrive on its own. If you're not, if it requires you, you're never going to get that sold. If you get hit by a bus, your business doesn't continue. It's the end of the business. So you need to consider the risk that you are putting in yourself by not detaching yourself from the business. Joshua, just remind me if I haven't answered it. I know it's quite a long question, but if I haven't answered anything, just prompt me again.
No, it was more conversation. So thank you for that input, Alan, because we often say this to businesses, and I'm glad that you've managed to reinforce this as well, that you can never grow your business on just your capacity to deliver. So unless you are building a system around you and relying on resources and having that number 2 or number 3 in your business that can run your business when you are unable to, and create revenue streams for passive income within your business, it's very difficult to start attaching value to your business. And very often, especially a lot of the businesses we work with are solopreneurs. They are businesses that are running everything themselves. It becomes quite tricky finding individuals that they can trust. And if you cannot trust someone to run your business, you are always going to be stuck in running the business yourself. And every one of us has only a fixed amount of hours in the day. So as you rightfully said, it becomes very tricky for investors to start looking at your business seriously when you are the only one that can represent your business. And very often we, as entrepreneurs, and we all have suffered with this at some stage of our entrepreneurial journeys, we do have these trust issues. You know, they say you want to get something done, you've done properly, you've got to do it yourself. And with so many entrepreneurs, we find this hanging on so tightly to their businesses. But I want to just look at some of the other questions and comments that we have. We have some Norwazi, and she says, how can one build and also motivate the team to be more independent from you? I'm struggling with this at the moment. Motivation and making sure they are the right people to build. I own a digital magazine, so we do articles and some online postings, plus some culture projects scheduled for the year. So, you know, again, it ties into what you and I have been chatting about is how do you make sure you have the right people around you to build? Alan, do you have any comments on that?
Making sure that you've got the right people to go with you. It's really about that vision. Your vision statements needs to be motivating and inspiring enough. It needs to be able to attract people that aren't just working for you or expecting to pick up a salary from you. It needs to be something that's compelling enough that your staff or your employees want to help you build that end goal. So part of those pieces there is to find the right people. I always say is don't look for people that are don't look for staff for today. Look for staff that are going to create your tomorrow. So look for staff that are going to be wanting and willing to grow with the business. The challenges of how do you keep your staff and that motivated right now? Well, my question is, are those the right staff? Are they people who are just there to pick up a salary and get a job? It's sometimes it's hard decisions like that to say, do I have the right people in my business? Do I have the right people to grow with me? And it could be a difficult decision of saying either sometimes I need to let them go, sometimes I need to find people who are aligned with it. So that's a bit of an answer, maybe not the one you want to hear, but that's sometimes it does take firing people and hiring the right people. Again, building it up also, one of the easiest ways to know whether your business is able to run on its own. Take 2 weeks of leave. If your business is still there, then it's all good. Also, if you are forced to take 2 weeks of leave, you are forced to put in structures, processes, pieces in place that will allow you for things for you to be away and necessitate for things to continue. So that's another way of looking at it. But I just want to see if Nawazi, I'm going to say to you there, create your vision slightly bigger, create it so that they've got your staff actually aspiring to want to do this with you, not for the sake of the money, but for the sake of creating something with you, with the company.
Thank you, Alan. I think, you know, that's covered it really, really well. And again, I would like to share a personal story, though, for those of you that know me and have seen me present before, you know, I love telling stories. And you know, I've had some difficult journeys from a health challenge perspective, but also, you know, during COVID, most of us had to step back from our business. And at one point, both Jay and myself, who's my better half, had to step away from our business for 6 weeks during COVID due to being hospitalized. And during that time, our business ran. I mean, there were 6 programs that we were running at the time. And the reason the business ran was because we had put in the systems and processes that you are referring to. We had resources that we trusted to actually deliver on our behalf. So at any time, I can step away from a program that's being run, and we have individuals that represent those programs because those are the systems and processes we've put in place. But you also made a very important point earlier, and I think this ties into Nawazi's question, but also some other comments we've received previously and in conversations we've had with businesses. It is your responsibility as a business owner to ensure that every single person in your business understands your mission and your vision to such an extent that they live it and they breathe it and they can share it with potential clients and customers. And if there's a conversation happening around a braai or a barbecue or a dinner table, they can share the vision and mission and ethos of your company to the same level of passion that you will share it. And that's the responsibility of the small business and of the business owner to ensure that everyone is as passionate about your business and understands it at that level. And I want to stress this, when we choose topics for these mentorship Mondays, and even topics when we're delivering content for our businesses, it's not for the sake of selecting these topics. They're really, really important. Remember, this is the foundation of your business. And, there's this, you will read about it, and I'm sure you've come across it, but they say even the sweeper on the streets of Disney World understands what the mission and vision is of Disney World. They're able to share that. They're able to express it. I mean, I remember taking my kids to Disney World, and Mickey was in a costume, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. And the kids asked, where's Mickey? And they said, no, Mickey's gone to rest because, anyone could come back in a costume, but that's not the philosophy. It's like these are living characters. So if a character goes to rest, a new person can't just get into that costume. They live and breathe the philosophy of making this a real experience for everyone that visits Disney World. So I'd like to know, and this is a question that you don't have to answer now, but how many of you are actually taking the time to share your vision and mission with your staff, your teams, your resources that you work on a continuous basis, even some of your suppliers and your clients? Do they know your vision and mission? Do they understand it? Do they know what you stand for as an organization? So I see Alice has a comment here. Another thing is that people are too good when they want to join businesses. They show positive energy with hidden agendas. May God help us spot genuine and authentic candidates. Amen to that, Alice. Unfortunately, we often remind staff when we're running leadership programs, remember why you joined the company. But I do want to stress, and I said this in one of my LinkedIn posts recently, very often you join a company, but you leave a person. So be very careful of your middle management as well, or your management team, and make sure that they are living the same values that you are living within your organization, and they are sharing the same level of passion, and they understand your mission and vision like you do. So if there are any other questions for Alan, I'd love to hear it now. And Alan, if you have
I wanna
any
add
final
to
comments.
Alison's question there. One of the other things that I'd suggest to you there is that when you're hiring, ask them what their exit strategy is. Ask them what their 1 year or 3 year or 5 year exit strategy is, and see if it's in alignment with you. If they are looking for something totally different, or they are heading in a different direction to you or to your business, then maybe they're not the right people to hire. It will throw people off asking them what their exit strategy is, but I find that to be quite authentic when you ask them that. What are they wanting to achieve? So as much as so Jayashree, to add to your piece there of Have you shared your vision and mission with your staff? Have you shared both ways, bi-directional? Have you shared your exit strategies with what you're trying to get with the business, and are your staff aligned there? And having done in the past, it's better to know what your exit strategies of your staff are and actually help them exit when they need to, rather than keep them in the business. And I've successfully exited quite a few people from my teams and that, rather because it's controlled. It's a win-win from both sides. Both parties are happy. I still speak to most of those people that I've exited. And it's just a better way to do it. I know, but if you're hiring somebody who isn't aligned to the end, they're not going to be aligned in the beginning either. Okay, so Alison, yeah, just adding there. I saw Rebecca, how do you balance deeply personal, purpose-driven vision with the practical needs of running a profitable business? Again, Rebecca, you need to have your alignment pieces there. As a founder, you need to know what you want to accomplish, what you need to achieve, what you need to earn as to pay your monthly bills. And you need to look at it and say, matched to your business, are you able to achieve that? What is that you need to put in place? What is it that you need to invest? Joshua, we mentioned a lot here. One of the things that I see people scared of is investing in people, investing in additional people that you can only walk away from the business if you've invested in somebody to take over from you. And it's a saving for a lot of businesses where they don't do that, but you're also stunting yourself. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alan. Any other comments, Alan, before we close off?
No, just how do you scale a business without losing the personal touch? Again, just be clear, Rebecca, just be clear about what your personal vision and mission is, aligned to your business vision and mission. And if they don't align, you need to question why they don't align and realign them. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Alan. Are there any final questions for Alan? Anyone, feel free to raise your hands. I know we have come to the close of the session, Alan. We've got a few more minutes, but before we close up today, I'd like to, for those of you that are on the line, I'd like to just let you know about next week Mentorship Monday session. We have the amazing Linda Smith that's going to be joining us, and she says, we are all living longer. We need to think about working for longer. And we're going to be joining Linda in conversation about why entrepreneurship is a solution for our future. So Linda, while you're on the line, I'd just love to hear a quick hello from you. And then we're going to close off today's Mentorship Monday.
Thanks, Jasri. Yeah, it would be wonderful to share next week. For us to think like an entrepreneur, not an employee. And I work mostly with people in the second half of life who are leaving a profession and needing to work for longer and creating some kind of entrepreneurship journey for themselves. But if we are all living longer, it actually starts much earlier. And we need to have a multi-stage life where we're coming out and we relearn and reskill and continue. And so that's what I'm going to be sharing. And I look forward to be in discussion with everyone about being an entrepreneur.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda. And it's a fascinating conversation that I look forward to having with Linda. I'm sure some of you might be sitting there thinking, oh, I'm nowhere close to being, over 50, and this session might just be targeting those individuals. I remember meeting Linda when I was, I think, in my mid-40s, when I was in a corporate role. And in the blink of an eye, your age changes, but then you're also surrounded by amazing individuals that might find value from a conversation like this. And there are also opportunities for you to collaborate with amazing individuals like Linda, irrespective of what your age is. And I think it's about a mindset change that needs to happen as well, and us thinking differently about entrepreneurship. And Linda said to me, she wants to have a conversation about choosing entrepreneurship, what did you say, Linda, in the second stage of your life? And I'm like, geez, I'm already there, hey, and it's interesting. So please do join us in conversation with Linda. And again, Alan, thank you so much for your time and your generosity of knowledge, and for sharing with everyone that joined us on this call today for our first Mentorship Monday. I know we've had quite a few masterclasses in the past, but this new series, we're hoping to just have conversations about topics that really matter to business, and to really get all of us, starting to have these important conversations with ourselves, and to actually make some difficult decisions, but ones that will take our businesses to the next level. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for your time. Again, thanks Alan and Linda. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, entrepreneurs, for joining us. The recording will be shared with everyone that registered. Please feel free to share it with anyone that needs this type of support in growing their business. And if there's any topics that you would like us to cover on our Mentorship Monday series, please do let us know, and we will reach out to our list of technical experts and get the right individual in front of you to help you with your entrepreneurship and your growth journey. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.